What's up everybody, Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here with another product review. So today we're going to be reviewing the EXXENTRIC K-Pulley Go Flywheel system. Freaking unbelievably cool piece of technology. I can't believe how many different things I can accomplish just with this piece of technology, and even just learning that flywheels have come so far. I remembered seeing one maybe a year or two ago. Some guy had, I think, DIY'd one in his garage, but I'd never seen anything like this. This is it's just so cool. The technology, the quality at which it's made, you know that you're looking at something very, very well made when you get this in the mail. So this is EXXENTRIC, EXX. That's how they spell the beginning of their name. That kind of throws a lot of people when they try to search for them. EXXENTRIC really is a great name for this company too, because starting with sort of how does this work, flywheels use the propulsion and the energy that I create during my concentric phase on whatever movement pattern I'm doing, and then they mirror it in the eccentric. So if I, for example, if I want to focus on an eccentric movement, like let's say, for example, I want to do a standing parallel row, and I use both hands to really crank the flywheel for the concentric, when the flywheel responds to me in the eccentric motion, it's going to pull back with just as much force as I pulled against it. So that's it's oftentimes it's kind of tough to explain unless someone is actually here training with me and I really can show them, but that's the general premise behind flywheels. You've got your system here, which this is specific to the K-Pulley Go. I want to make sure I say that because we have a couple different flywheel systems from EXXENTRIC. They're our newest partner, and this is just one of them. So K-Pulley Go and the K-Pulley Box, they both go around the same, basically the same technological system. You have your pen, which is of course right here. You have your flywheel, which will then be loaded onto the pen. And then once I start doing the movements, as I said, this spins and it repeats the same energy output that I give to it. So that's essentially, from a 30,000 foot view, how a flywheel system operates. Let's get into the K-Pulley Go system specifically. So K-Pulley Go, very, very innovative, very smart on their part to make a system that is not limited to an individual who just has a gym or somebody who just has space to put that big box and carry around with them. No, this is a system that if one wanted to, using this, you could go to a park, you could strap the K-Pulley Go to a tree or a post. Using the system that they provide for you guys, you can really do this anywhere. Now let's talk about sort of the limitations of this system. When this first came to us, it did not look like this. If you guys see this, what I have done, being me and a little bit innovative, I took a rack attachment to my fabrication, took their system and modified it so that this would mount onto my rack. This will not mount to your rack when it comes to you. That is probably the biggest flaw that I see with this system, is that in order to get this onto your rack, and really that's what EXXENTRIC has sort of found themselves between a rock and a hard place with this system, they want this to be accessible for everybody anywhere without having a rack. Now, that means that in order to attach this, you have to basically strap this on using these little hooks over the top and the bottom portions of this little mount. That is a pain in the butt. I can tell you immediately when it came, I tried it. I went into it with an open mind. I was like, okay, if this really sucks, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a rack mountable attachment that I'll fabricate, make, powder coat, put on, and then I'll have it there the way I want it. But I tried it their way first. Their way is excellent for someone who does not own a rack, someone who's going out into public, who wants to strap it to a tree or a fence post. It is not good for somebody who actually has a power rack and wants this thing to be really secure and adjustable without having the dilemma of having to unclick and reattach it and restrap it. And, it's just such a pain in the butt. That's the only thing I will say right out of the gate that I saw as a problem for me personally, because I knew I had a rack, because I knew I owned a gym. I wanted something that was rack attachable. So for all intents and purposes, this is kind of a K-Pulley rack, if you will. A very special and unique, it's actually one of a kind. Again, this system right here is one of a kind because I made it. But that being said, the K-Pulley system, very, very good, and that's just a big sort of overview on how it works. Now let's get into the actual review, because we've got some very interesting numbers to go over here. So, as you guys know, we go based on 4 categories: Pricing, usage, footprint, and customer service. Those are the four categories that we use for all the equipment that we review. Let's start with pricing. This is going to break your bank. If you want a gym that is flywheel friendly or something that is going to use flywheel technology as a cornerstone in your training method, you are going to spend thousands of dollars to get it. This system alone, and as I mentioned earlier, there are two systems that you really do need if you want the full flywheel experience. You need the K-Box or the K-Box 4 like we have, and you need the K-Pulley Go. If you have both of these things, then you really do have kind of the sky's the limit on what you can do. And more of that into the usage category later, but for now we're just talking about price. So just for the K-Pulley Go, you're looking at about $1,200 for the basic starter set, not including tax or shipping. So that being said, that's expensive. That is a lot of money for something like this. And now, again, the usage score is going to be very reflective of what I'm about to say, but you really do not need all that much more to make this operate if you buy it. That being said, you get a lot of bang for your buck. You only get one flywheel. That is something that I would say is probably not a fair price comparison. That's the thing that really makes this kind of, they give you just enough to get you started with the knowledge that, okay, when they get this and they spend probably $1,300, $1,400 once you factor in shipping, once they spend that money, they're going to love it so much they're going to come back and they're going to buy more. Because one flywheel is probably not going to be what you're going to need, especially if you're doing the K-Pulley Go. You're going to be using all different angles for your movements. You're going to be doing tons of different exercises. They're not all going to be the same exact resistance. And the way flywheels work, see, I brought two of them out here so that I could use this as an example. You've got your extra small and your small. See the size difference? And these go up to medium, large, XL. They get huge. You really need a couple different variations on these to be able to kind of mix and match, because once the resistance is on here, yes, it will mirror what I do as far as power, but if you want to change things around for different exercises, you're just going to need more flywheels, more or less depending on the size you get. I think you can choose one. I think you can literally choose one flywheel with your system when it comes. So again, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for something like this. And I understand it's very nice. It's well made. I don't really have all that much in as far as complaints on the design of the flywheel, but the price is high. Therefore, I'm going to give that a 6.9. That's going to be the pricing score. It's good. It's not great. It's a lot of money. It just is. But that's not really going to matter, because what I'm going to talk about next is probably going to offset that score. Usage. This and the K-Box together would probably sufficiently create a home gym for anyone by themselves. That's a pretty bold statement, because you're dealing with people who want to do 20, 30, 40 different movement patterns for their entire body. You've got so much to deal with. If you have this and you have that, your gym, maybe with the exception of some accessories along the way, your gym is 80 to 90% done. And that's a lot to say. Again, you're spending money on two pieces of equipment, but they're so versatile. There's really no limit to what you can do. You can do a dozen different exercises 2 or 3 different ways using this. Like I mentioned earlier, this works on an eccentric form of energy, so that if I want to do an exercise, take like a single arm chest press. If I want to do a single arm chest press where I want to do sort of a standard resistance where I want to create it with one hand and then have it return with one hand and then create with one hand and then return with one hand, that's fine. And then I can take that exact same exercise, I can create with 2 hands and then have it return with one hand, create with 2 hands, return with one hand. You can see how this allows you to do a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. So it really is only limited by your imagination. You can do just about anything with this system. So again, this is going to be probably the highest usage score I've ever given anything. I'm going to give this a 9.8. That's about as close to a 10 as I've ever gone. And I hate getting perfect numbers. I don't know that anybody's ever perfect. But this is darn close. EXXENTRIC does an amazing job of allowing you to just create your own home gym with this. This technology is incredible, and they've done a really good job perfecting it. And that's what they've done. They've perfected the Flywheel. Footprint, also a category where this is going to score pretty darn good. Now, if you are using the Pulley Go system, which is, of course, what this product review is centered on, not the K-Box, the Pulley Go system is good, not great for hauling around. And I will say that right away. This, it's light, but it's not all that light. And it's small, but it's not crazy small. Like, you're gonna know that it's there when you're hauling it out to the park or wherever you are taking it. My advice, if you are using this, because that's not even accounting for the fact that you have to put your Flywheels in your backpack as well and take those as well. My advice is that this would be perfect for somebody who is doing home gym setup. If you're doing a home gym setup, you can have a place for this. You can put it, find a little corner, hang it. That's what I do. I literally just hang this off of my my pegboard and just put it on the wall. Same with the Flywheels, but you're gonna need somewhere to put it. But that being said, if you have a home gym, it's very, very small in comparison to what you get to do with it. And see, that's the scope that I'm viewing all of this through is, what am I able to do with this versus what sort of footprint is it giving, or how much does it cost? That's always in my mind with the Pulley Go, because it just does so much. It's the most versatile, one of the most versatile pieces of technology for exercise that I've ever found. So again, I would give this for footprint an 8.1. That's generous, considering that it is, small, but not too small. You will notice that it's there, and you will notice that it takes up some room in your gym or home gym, wherever it is that you're at. Okay, customer service. Yes, EXXENTRIC is great. They are an incredible company. They're in Sweden. They have a couple teams that they work with. They have a marketing team. Their sales reps are very, very knowledgeable, and they have a lot of education. That's something big with something like this. This is a piece of technology that immediately people are going to be thrown off by the price. Immediately, people are going to go, no, there's no way I'd pay that. I don't know anything about Flywheels. Flywheels are still relatively new to the industry. I don't know that a lot of people train with them. I love them, my clients love them, but it's not something you're gonna find in most gyms. It just isn't. It's too technical and it's too expensive. That's the biggest thing in this whole equation, is just how expensive this really is. So, that being said, they're incredible. They know their product is expensive, and they use the education to really back that up. They're great throughout all of their social outreach on Instagram or anything. If you guys have questions, I know you can message them and they will get back to you. EXXENTRIC is great. I'm gonna give them 8.9. That's a great score. Again, they've done a great job creating this. They know they've done a great job, which is why their price is so high, but they back it up. They put their money where their mouth is, and they know that they are one of several flywheel companies in the industry, and they want to make sure that they are there to, up their score by having great customer service. Well done, EXXENTRIC, 8.9. So the average of this entire thing is an 8.4. 8.4 for the EXXENTRIC Pulley Go. Well done. That's a great score. Helped incredibly by the amount of usage that you get out of this. Again, I cannot say enough. I will say one thing. I did not mention this in the usage score, and I want to make sure that I do mention it now. The Pulley Go by itself will help you with every movement pattern from your core and up. Lower body is going to be difficult. Lower body with the Pulley Go requires that the flywheel is exceptionally low. If you're doing something heavy like, say, squats or deadlifts, you're going to want to get yourself the Pulley box. That will be another review we will do separate from this. But that being said, this is basically a core, abdominal, and full upper body training exercise piece of equipment. So if that seems worth it to you, to be able to train half your body in just about any way that you want using this, then go on EXXENTRIC, check out their Pulley Go, and get ready to spend some money. Guys, thank you so much. If you disagree with anything that I said here, if you maybe think my score was incorrect, or you have a question about the equipment, please don't hesitate to ask. If you guys want a different piece of equipment reviewed, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you. Have an awesome day.